Hello. Probably only Hedgeberg is here at the moment, but it is a Wednesday night, and I hate the fact that it's a Wednesday night, and there's a new system update. So it's time to do my job. Can you hear me, Hedge? Test. I have no idea if I'm audible right now. I am theoretically audible, but I have no idea if I am audible in practice. I should probably drop a link to this in Reswitched. 1 second. Cool. Okay, people are saying things, so I'm going to assume that I am audible. Hello, like a bunch of people who just joined. So 9.1.0 just released. It's a Wednesday, and I'm really mad about the fact that it's a Wednesday and not a Monday. But we're doing this anyway. It seems like not a ton of things updated. Most of the kernel processes are basically just rebuilds. Like the only thing different is the build hash. Only loader and file system have actual text changes. And loader seems like just minor and SDK stuff. The kernel is completely identical, but TrustZone has some changes. And I spotted at least one change at a glance that isn't just the usual new master key, so we'll do the whole diffing process as usual. JZ08 says, I hope we can use custom firmware in less than a day. Ha, you will not be able to use custom firmware in less than a day. I'm sorry. So Atmosphere is in this really weird in-between state right now where I'm in the middle of finishing refactoring and rewriting Atmosphere Man in the Middle. And yeah, I was hoping to finish Atmosphere Man in the Middle tonight or tomorrow night, but there's obviously system updates. I'm doing this tonight instead, so there'll be like at least a day or two needed for me to finish that, and then the usual day or so to update Atmosphere for the new system update. Tentatively, we'll probably have Atmosphere done by like Sunday or Monday, but maybe it'll be done sooner than that. Probably not, but it's not impossible. But okay, it looks like people are here, so let's just get started. Hedgeberg says, "Hey Mike, why the hell are you streaming programming stuff instead of streaming cool skateboard tricks?" It's because, and I know this will come as a great shock, I don't own a skateboard. I would love to stream cool skateboard tricks. Send me a skateboard. I'll stream cool skateboard tricks, but don't own one, so I'm sorry. Anyway, let's download the new system update. So I have this script, which I think I showed off last time, which is just a system update downloader. I'm fine with showing the whole thing, so let me slowly scroll through this entire script, and then if you care, you can copy it out by hand later if you're at home. It's pretty straightforward. It just basically downloads stuff and then extracts it using hack tool, which it calls via a subprocess. Okay, Python simply.py latest. Hitub says, would your skateboard run Python 2? It would only run Python 2. It would in fact be incompatible with Python 3, my skateboard. D08 says, is it possible to downgrade the 9.1 to a lower firmware? If you made a backup beforehand, definitely. Otherwise, probably not. Or at least it would require like a lot of effort. Hello, Istros. You ask, are you going to be on strike with all French people in a few hours? No, I'm not. Mostly because I'm not French. I'm really sorry. There are a surprisingly large number of people who think that I'm French, probably because of all of the French that I tweet. But I am in fact not French, so I'm sorry. There is a fuse burned, Nikki. There's also a new master key and some TrustZone changes, etc., etc. It's not a micro revision, but it is a minor revision. There's like new service commands too. Although the SDK version in the NCA header for some of the titles which got new service commands didn't change, so it's weird. This is update script is not technically public, and also you need to bring your own client cert, but I also just showed it all on a stream for which there's a VOD. So if you need your own script, you're welcome to type mine out again. That's funny. Okay, this is probably going to be done in a minute or two. It just takes a while to download everything. Yes, it is done. Cool. So let's try the new fancy thing. So I wrote this like an hour ago because Fried Keenan was saying, "Oh, what if Michael fucks up and shows the sept keys on stream?" And so let's hope that I don't do that. But I wrote this script. Previously, I've like manually decrypted package 1 in Python shell. And I'm sure everyone would love to watch me do that again. I wrote a script to do it, so we'll see if that actually works. Python package 1 decrypt. Cool, so it decrypts with the second TSET key. And let's see, this should look good. Go to 7,000. Yeah, totally looks good. Awesome. How is new IPC? I'm getting too concerned over the rewrite. What's Atmosphere's plans for 9.1 support? Yeah, so I said this a couple minutes ago, but new IPC is like a day or 2 or 3 of work away from being done. There's just AMS man in the middle left, and I've done all but like 6 commands. I was planning on finishing it tonight and tomorrow, but then I'm doing this tonight instead, so I'll probably finish it tomorrow/Friday, and then add the 9.1.0 stuff on Saturday, and then like do a pre-release on Sunday, I guess. Probably. We'll see how the timing works out. The next Atmosphere release will be 0.10.0. Nikki says, don't you have to work and sleep? I do have to work, but coincidentally, I slept 2 hours last night. It's a little less than that, because I'm not counting the time it took me to fall asleep. Because I was up until 7 in the morning working on the Atmosphere in the middle layered FS stuff, which I finally got working with the rewrite, which is exciting. And it uses unique pointer stuff now instead of a bunch of stuff that was manual allocation before, which is exciting. Yeah, it takes me like 15 minutes to fall asleep, Edge. I don't fall asleep instantly. But yeah, so I'm a little sleep deprived from that. But it's fine. This stream will go fine regardless, and we're just going to do this as usual. Sleep is not necessary if you are trying hard enough. Okay. So, got this. The first thing, if you've watched me do this before in a previous stream, you'll probably remember this. Oh yeah, I bought IDA, but I haven't actually had time to set up the IDA that I purchased in this VM, so it's still using 7.0. When I do kernel loader reverse engineering / implementation streams, I'll actually be using IDA 7.4. And I'm just realizing literally right now that I'm not going to get undo in IDA tonight, and I'm already upset about that because I've gotten really used to using undo. Fuck. Okay, we'll deal with it. Yes. Okay. Yeah, I know. Way to dox myself. My real identity is Jiang Ying. Okay, for 30,000. Cool. So let's set this up to be here. And I'm not going to put much effort into labeling this stuff on this side right now because it's all going to get wiped when I have to run the IDC that'll copy over like segments later. So function chunk, yeah, it's fine. It's doing the annoying thing it does, right? Okay, I always forget that I have to take this, mark this as a function, and then, only then mark this as a function. So we equal to CFT0, and what I care about is uncompressed TrustZone images. And so let's take this, which is this LZ11 decompression function, and this, which is the weird mem copy. How much does IDA cost? Yeah, IDA costs like $5,000. But it's important that it does so because it's $5,000 better than Ghidra, and so it's it's worth the cost because it is like Ghidra, exactly like Ghidra, except $5,000 better. Okay, so it looks like the main section is at DFC and size 6F29 this time. So let's go to 20 DFC. Size is 6F29, and then in order to actually get it to go, I need to click on this. I'm not sure if this is like a new HXD issue, but I've been having that issue recently. Okay, let's go to 9.1.0, and this is secmon main.lc11. And then the other one is 890.556b. 890, size is 56b. Oh, yeah, let me assure you, if you're arguing about how to pronounce IDA, you're wrong. It's pronounced interactive disassembler, and anyone who abbreviates it in any way is wrong. I'm wrong by calling it IDA, but just to be clear, you are also wrong. Okay, so this is this decompression script that I've written before when I like re-implemented LZ11 because I didn't realize it was LZ11. I think I've shown this before too, but yeah. Okay, let's copy these binaries over. 9.1.0. And then what I think I want to do is I want to take the IDC that we got from the last one, and I want to use it for segments because the segments never actually change here, and it's easier to do this than to like manually add them. So what we do is we only want the segments, and so everything that isn't segments we will cancel. We will cancel that, we'll cancel that, cancel that, cancel any patches we've made. The only thing we want is the segments, and we'll run that, and everything will be sad. But there we go, we've got our segments. If I go to the segment window, we now have all of our segments, which is really good. Saves a lot of time. Okay, let's start marking stuff. I want that to be that, I want that to be that. I think I can start naming stuff without feeling bad about it now that I have actually copied this over. Let's give that a shot. This is 0. Cold duty init, this just calls the init array, and there's nothing in the init array, but it should be the same as always. Yep. Oh, I should also edit plugins friend. I want to go to documents friend. No, it's configurations. I need to hit all files. Yeah, there it is. See if things have to be. Cool. That's a lot better. Hedrick says, "Be me, be poor. Please, Mr. Hexrays, can I have another free megabyte?" Ilfek laughs as I starve to death on the street. Empty arrow. My face one. Yeah. I mean, I don't have anything to say to that except, yeah. Press TrustZone images. Cool. Okay, and then I need to like manually unload these binary files because I still have not written something to do it manually. So let's file, load file, addition binary file. Then go to SecMon 9.1.0, take this init binary, and we want to load it at 4003,000, and we don't want to create a new segment. Cool. Wasn't Nair working on that, if I remember right? I probably don't remember right, but... Not like an IDA reimplementation, but his own IDA equivalent, if I remember right. I definitely feel like I remember Nair working on that. Gotcha. You dead thanks to Gydra. That makes sense. Also, I know it's not Gydra, but I said that as a joke once, and it's funny enough that I started saying Gydra consistently without thinking about it. Like, that is my default pronunciation, which is dumb. Okay, where does this actually load to? All right, 7C01-0800. Fuck, I never remember how this actually works. I think I need to like load it in like 2 places. I definitely want to load it at the raw address where I do this, and then I do 0 and then 7C01-0800. And then I think I need to load the first 1800 bytes of this to one address, and then the next rest of the bytes to another offset, and I never remember how to do that. So we're gonna just actually look at this. This is set up the main controllers veneer. Set up the main controllers veneer. I think this is actually a function. Yep, it is. Cool. Anything interesting in here? No, this is the usual, like, clear the cache, do locks. Anything interesting in here? Nope, same as always. So nothing seems to have changed in the DMA controller config. Cool. Okay, this is the function that like sets up memory mappings. And so I'm gonna need to use this to try to remember where the other binary needs to get loaded. God, I wish that I could just remember where it needed to get loaded instead of having to do this dumb shit every time. Let's see, this is Rx size, this is Rx adder, this is R adder, this is RW adder, this is R size, this is RW size. Okay, what is mapped to 7C01-0800? Okay, there's obviously the raw mapping there. Then there is these 2 mappings. There should be like something at 7C01-02,000. God, I never remember this. Right, because they subtract the like awful address from this to get the virtual address. Okay. 4,000, 9,000 pages. Okay, or 9,000 bytes, not 9,000 pages. Your Gen Z, I like avocado toast and existential dread. Man, I knew there was a reason we were friends, Hedge. I also really like both of those things. Okay, I think I remember this. I'm pretty sure that if I just look at what segments I have package 2 loader and the like exception vectors at, that will answer my question. Package 2 loader is 1F01E and text is 1F014. 1F001E is mapped directly to this, so okay. So what I want to do is I'm going to want to load additional binary file. I want to take the main binary, and I want to say OX1F01E34. I want to take file offset 0, and I want to take 0x1800 bytes, except that's not quite right because it's copied 800 bytes into the page. So it's actually like that. I think that should be right. And then the rest is going to be at 7C01 2000. And where is that relative to this RX adder? Right, that's that awful conversion thing. Does anyone want to do this math for me? No, it's fine. I'll use Firefox to do it. I should just know this. I shouldn't need to Google how to do this math. This math hasn't changed ever. Well, it hasn't changed since 5.x actually. 1F01 4 minus 7C01 2000. Okay, so it's just mapping directly there. Got it. Are the exception vectors at .text plus 0? 1F01 4000. Let me just check that really quickly. Yep, they are. Okay. File, load file, additional binary file. 1F01 1000, file offset 0, it's 1800. And that, I think, should be good. Okay, let's continue. I think I named this function. I do. So let's give it its name. Let's copy over these names. Okay, I don't name anything else in here. Set of memory controllers, enable MMU. This is the same thing. What is XONSH? I don't know what that is. Okay, yeah, so this was the thing that I saw was like different at a glance. Okay. Move X9. Okay. They're writing to a new system register. So this is CPU eCTLR EO1, and this is CPU ACTLR EO1. And they are now writing a new value to this register. And also, is this a mistake? Nintendo, I'm sure you're watching this later, but you have this bit set here, which is 0x8, whatever, 8000. And I think that's like a cache control bit. And then you load in X9 with 0x100 shifted left by 16. And this will overwrite that bit. I mean, you can see that the actual value is 80001. And so the 8 that you had set in there it gets overridden when you do the move K. Totally possible that this is intentional or just compiler weird output, and this bit pattern is like easy to do a move with or something. But that strikes my eye as wrong. So consider fixing it if it's a problem? Question mark? Who knows? Anyway, that's suspicious. But yeah, so new CPU eCTLR fix. Or ACTLR, actually. I think this... Let me actually check. Because I should have the kernel loader IDB here somewhere. Sys updates. Is it in memes? It's probably in memes. No. Where would I have put a kernel loader IDA database if I was myself? Would I have put it in here? Probably. That sounds like me. Ramen out. Yep, there it is. Let's store the pack base. I'm sure that the last time I saved it, it was correct. Map, initial identity mapping. Yeah, so kernel loader sets these bits 8000001 whatever, and this wasn't being set in EL3 before, and so it looks like this is just them setting it earlier, maybe. I don't know. I don't think this is a major functionality change. It's just interesting that they are now setting this here. But okay, let's continue onwards, because 1B40, 1B40, 63D, 63D, 7C1D, FCO, 808, 1351F, 0, 4FF, 1F14,000, clear, GFC5, yeah, okay, those are all the same. Cool. Go ahead, nothing's different there. And this is just the, like, weird, God, I don't want to see clipboard history, nor am I interested in streaming clipboard history. I mean, it's fine, because this is a streaming VM, so there would be nothing bad in my clipboard history. But also, why is there a clipboard history? Like, who has ever thought to themselves, you know what I really want? I really want Windows to keep track of what I've ever had in my clipboard so that I can look at it with a smiley face later. Does this do another call? Yeah, it definitely does. Then, yeah, there's no init array for the actual binary. And then it will jump the cold boot main. And I could do this, but I would like to avoid a problem that I have sometimes gotten when doing TrustZone reversing previously. So we're going to try something new today. And we're going to jump right to .text, 1F01 40,000. We're going to hit mark this as code. And then this goes to panic unknown TZ exception. What I want to do is I want to get panic labeled like immediately, because I would really, really like for panic to not lead to function chunks elsewhere in code. So we're gonna make this a function, which is no return, and we're gonna label watchdog reboot and panic before we do anything else. Is panic unknown TrustZone exception. Panic unknown TrustZone exception. And I think watchdog reboot. Yeah, the other thing is going to be in do reboot, which is going to be in panic. I think I'm going to need to like mark package 2 as code before I do anything else there. So here's hoping that this doesn't fuck everything over. Where is this code? Because there's a high chance that this is at the same offset. So let's give that a shot, actually. Yep, totally is. Excellent. I'm really glad that this binary is so consistent. Doing the panic stuff first, I'm really hopeful will prevent the super annoying problem that I always have of panic not being detected as no return. And then a bunch of stuff just not working right because of that. Let's see. Panic internal is called by generic panic, which is right here. Is that the same offset? It probably is. It sure is. Yeah, so as you can tell, the TrustZone stuff, TrustZone changes are so minor these days. I miss the days when there were new secure monitor calls. Those are more exciting, but that's what it is. Set type of font set. I think those are sets of global. Yeah. This is gpanic code. Okay, now let's go to package 2 loader, which is at 1F01 EOD100, maybe? Yeah, there's definitely code, but let's just actually follow the trace again. TrustZone, press main, jump to cold boot main. Oh, 4ODO, not EODO, whatever. Let's see what I named this stuff before. I wonder if they updated the key derivation algorithm on last Splatoon. No, we'd already dumped the new master key and stuff, and it is same key generation algorithm as always. Nothing new exciting in key generation this time. Fair jump, lower exception level. Let's see. This is cold boot main. Oh, for Super Mario Maker 2, not for Horizon. Got it. Naveniel asks, how did you get into console hacking? So there, I think, is a Vice article about this at the moment, which is ridiculously stupid. But the upshot is I really like Pokemon, and I really like hacking Pokemon. And in late 2013, when Pokemon X and Y released, there was this thing that happened called InstaCheck, where it turned out that you could dump Pokemon data out of Wi-Fi packets. And I saw an article about it, and was really interested. So I joined an IRC channel at Project Pokemon for the people who were talking about it. And at the same time, Kaphotics was learning how to program. And he and I learned how to program together working on hacking stuff for Pokemon X and Y. And we found a bug together in Daytel's power saves that let us re-sign 3DS save files at a time when there was no public way to do that. And that was a ton of fun, and it was fun enough that I have stuck around all of the years since. Base, our base. Who's your favorite Spice Girl? I'm gonna disregard the last word there and say that I'm really a fan of nutmeg. It's a great spice, and it has never, ever done me wrong. I skipped one. Sorry about that. I was setting my phone on Do Not Disturb because I'd forgotten to do that. And I think it vibrated or something. Who is your favorite Pokemon? Favorite Pokemon is Wishy-Washy. Second favorite Pokemon is Volcarona. And yeah, I've been doing this like basically daily for almost 6 years now, which is a ton of time. Fuck, it'll be 6 years in 2 months. That's, oh wait, 5 years. No, yeah, 6 years and 2 months. That's crazy, 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 crazy. I use iOS, Shadow Ninja. I have an iPhone XR. And you might say it's an iPhone XR, but it is in fact an iPhone XR. No, Hedgeberg, I joined in February of 2014. I said late 2013 after X and Y released. InstaCheck happened in like December of 2013, and then I joined Project Pokemon in like February of 2014. It all blends together. Oh yeah, clearly I was caught lying. Okay. I've been caught. I am the biggest liar of all time. I have never told the truth, and I never will. I am a habitual liar. I have never said anything true in my life. My word is worth nothing. And no one should ever trust me when I say anything, because it will be false. I've been exposed. You should cancel me. We're done. I'm just going to copy over all the types now, because there is no need for me to do them one at a time later. I know that I think you can like export these to a header and then call it cancel, please. Yeah. I think you can save these to a header and then re-import them, but I never know how to do that, so we do it this way. Completely separate note. I watched It, the Stephen King movie, last night for the first time. Surprisingly good movie. But yeah, no, I definitely agree that I should be canceled and exiled from this scene. It's definitely about ethics in gaming, console, hacking, journalism. Hedgeberg put the words right in my mouth. Yeah, so you might think that Atmosphere is a benign custom firmware, but what you don't realize is that it actually has a time bomb in it, and everyone who has ever used it will be permanently banned. It's because I've been thinking ahead. Did I say banned? Sorry, I meant your Switch will actually explode, and everyone you love and care about will be deeply injured. It's my master plan, is to get my software into thousands of homes by putting it on people's Switches, and then, one day I'll hit the button and everyone's Switches will explode, and I will laugh, because that is what I do. Oh yeah, I'm really looking forward to inevitably the people who don't understand that I'm shitposting who will take clips of my saying, "Oh, I'm a liar. Oh, Atmosphere will brick you," and then they will, post links to those clips and then accuse me of being a bad actor. I know that's going to happen anytime I joke about this, and so I look forward to it. Hit me with it. Thank you. Oh yeah, Kotaku and The Verge. Apparently, when I have an opinion about Pokemon modding, it merits it's news, which is bizarre. I'm still not used to that. It's weird. Ugh. Whatever. That's what it is. Okay. Ready a scene kick, which I'm sure has not changed. And I'm sure there must be some IDA option to get it to not generate these function chunks, but I don't know what that is. It might be one of like the kernel options. I should play around with that the next time I do this. Yeah, I will say that, Hedgeberg. Oh my god, this reminds me. Like, there's some... It's awesome. There's some article about the Pokemon Sword and Shield stuff that screenshots of 4chan posts that I made and attributes it to me via my trip code. And the fact that some journalist went on 4chan and like used snipping tool to take a picture of my post, and that was quote unquote news. Oh man, that's so funny. God. Okay. Quote unquote news. Laramie14 asks, did you ever find anything worthwhile in 8.1.1? Yeah, I was actually really happy with the 8.1.1 stuff. I mean, that was like a surprisingly large amount of effort to get dumped. But the system modules have like settings .hoag or underscore hoag, where hoag is the name for the like light hardware model. And there are some actual code changes, and that was really, really cool to see. I mean, it's nothing that anyone who isn't super interested in Horizon would care about, but I was really, really happy to get it dumped and see that there were changes. Like, running Hacktool on the dumped copy of 8.1.1 and seeing underscore hoag in the process names was absolutely its own reward for me. Hi, Kitlith. Yeah, there are a lot more people watching than usual. Although this is about as many people as we had when we streamed 9.0.0 Diffing. I think it's because I mentioned it on Twitter. I'm sure that if I actually linked this on Twitter, we would get even more viewers, but I don't care about having a huge amount of number of viewers. They broke the Joy-Con colors in 9.0.1, if I remember right, but I don't remember 100% for sure. Yeah, I am pretty happy with the like low viewership-ish, low-ish. I mean, it's like 80 people. That's a lot of people. It's a huge amount of people. But I'm pretty happy with the number of viewers that I get when I like link it in Reswitched and mention that I'm going to be streaming on Twitter, but then don't actually link it on Twitter. Hedge says, at Big Daddy UK 666, how's Boris doing? Still eating his own ass? Question mark. Wow. And that was just a good series of things that were said, and so I wanted to read them out loud. I hope you don't mind. Oh yeah, 80 is objectively like a huge number of people. It's ridiculous. It's just I get the sense that if I tweeted it, there would be a lot more people, and I don't want that many more people. And so relative to the number of people that I think I would expect otherwise, you know what I mean. You definitely know what I mean. Okay. I really don't want this function chunk stuff, so let's... of course. Okay. Do that one. Do that one. Do that one. Then we will mark this as a function, which is perform SE single block operation. Security engine. This is security engine memcopy. Yeah, I don't know why I never label this internal function, but it doesn't really matter. Just a memory copy. This is trigger security engine operation internal. Valenicario says, I have a question. I remember during older system updates, it took weeks to get Atmosphere running on the new updates. And since then, the time to update Atmosphere has gone from weeks to literal hours. Why is that? I don't know if it was ever weeks. Was it weeks? Might have been. I don't really remember it being weeks, but I believe it. The thing that makes Atmosphere updates take time is that there might be large changes, which I need to re-implement. I need to reverse and re-implement. And we need to get the keys for the updates. Even the TSEC stuff, I don't think it's more than a week or two, because we had the virtualization thing. And then 7.0 we dumped in like hours because Motozazer and I had hacked TSEC like an hour before the... That was super funny. When 7.0.0 came out, I think we tweeted the like key hashes right after the update released. And the timing was super funny because we had finished hacking TSEC like literally 3 hours before 7.0.0 released. Sometimes things just work out that way, and you get lucky. Simon says he's still not entirely convinced that I'm human. Yeah, I understand that. It's fine. I'm definitely human, but you are welcome to believe whatever makes you happy. Decrypt data into Keysalon 256. Yeah, so Atmosphere this time is going to have the super ridiculous experience of... Well, Atmosphere literally cannot release an update right now because Atmosphere Man in the Middle is broken because of new IPC changes. But we are only a day or two from my being able to do what we need to do. And so, with any luck, I will finish off the Atmosphere Man in the Middle changes Thursday and Friday. We'll get the changes for 9.1.0 in over the next day or two, and then we'll like release it on like Sunday or so. It'll be a couple of days, but it's just because Atmosphere is not in a place where it can do an update right now, and not because there are actual problems. Cool. Fightkin says, honestly, I think watching Atmosphere Man in the Middle changes would be more riveting than this, if only because I might understand more of it. Yeah, so I am planning on streaming Atmosphere development, not until after the new IPC stuff is done. But I mean, the kernel loader plan right now, at least, is that once Atmosphere 0.10.0 is released, which will be on like Sunday or Monday or whatever, I will be re-implementing kernel loader, and I will be streaming that, and I will be streaming the reverse engineering and the writing the C++ code. Definitely think I labeled this. Yeah, okay. Hey, Hedgeberg, can you answer a question for me? So in 9.0.1, the SDK version in a bunch of NCAs is 9.3.0.0. But it looks like 9.1.0 added new service commands, but the SDK version is still 9.3.0.0. Do you know what the new GUI shell commands do? Could you describe their functionality and also explain why new commands were added but the SDK version wasn't bumped? I would really appreciate your expertise. Thank you. Also, there was a refactoring of the mutex code in KNX between like 5.0 and 6.0 and between 6.0 and 7.0. Could you give me the high-level overview of what the mutex changes were and why Nintendo might have chosen to implement them? I would really appreciate it. Thank you, Hedgeberg. Old Spice Body Wash says, outside of refactoring, will there be... One second. Hedgeberg says, so you gotta do a thing, don't do a thing, do multiple things, eat ass. Yeah, that sounds about right. Outside of refactoring, will there be any new functionality / breaking changes in the next release of AMS? I am tagging the new release of AMS 0.10.0 because there are a whole lot of new things and functionality and breaking changes. In fact, I would describe the update as like 95% breaking changes by volume. The new atmosphere update is like more breaking changes than not breaking changes. Feel free to check out the new IPC branch of atmosphere. I mean, it's not like I'm working on it in secret. You can see what I'm working on. I don't know. Probably the thing that I'm most happy with is like the new. I mean, obviously the new IPC branch is the new IPC. I totally redid all of the IPC code. It's like semantically identical to Nintendo's now. Super accurate. We have all the same bugs that they have. It's awesome. Also, I made like everything statically allocated instead of doing dynamic allocations, which is awesome because it means that I've been able to super greatly reduce memory requirements. Like atmosphere system modules use like 10 megabytes less memory now, which means all of that memory is freed up for new system modules. Yeah, it's the same. I mean, there aren't any hurdles to releasing Atmosphere 0.10.0 right now. I just need to do the 9.0.0 support, or 9.1.0 support, and finish Atmosphere Man in the Middle. And Atmosphere Man in the Middle, as of this morning, was like a day or two of work away from being done. Getting Layered FS working was really difficult. Valiant Storm says, question, could you use Loader's Atmosphere set clear the diameter right side of the hover replacement? You definitely can. You shouldn't, because it's not really what that's meant for, but you definitely can. Feel free, if that's what you're into. I don't know why you're into that, but if that's what does it for you, do it. Says you probably could have reused overlay FS. You know, what is overlay FS? I don't know what that is. Oh, then no, I could not reuse overlay FS. Hedgeberg, what Layered FS does is it takes all of these different file systems and then it builds a Nintendo ROMFS image from them. That is, it compiles these file systems to a Nintendo binary format. And so I definitely could not reuse overlay FS since it's not like I'm intercepting file system calls. I'm intercepting reads to an image. And the hard part of Layered FS is efficiently enough parsing all of these files and constructing the image that the game doesn't stutter on load. because I need to build the metadata on game launch. Why does Nintendo do these little updates if there should be a crack? Misconception. These updates are not actually little or like super easy to crack. It's just Hedgeberg says 3DS isn't 100% hacked. The 3DS is 100% hacked. What do you mean? 3DS is definitely 100% hacked. But anyway, these updates add functionality. Like this 9.1.0 is adding final support for the like new release for China. It's mostly new service stuff so that they can properly support the business deal that they have with Tencent in China. Big Platypus site. Does this have something to do with the China update that was added recently? Yes. This update is very much let's finalize China support. Victim says, do you ever think we'll get the Switch to the point where the 3DS or it's completely 100% hacked? I mean, the Switch is completely and 100% hacked, except for the Lotus. Not a lot of user-facing features. I hate that meme where people go, oh, there aren't user-facing features. Like, yes, there are. Don't be stupid. There aren't, like, new character icons. So people get super... nothing's happening. They're not doing stuff that I care about. But they add functionality that affects user experience basically every major update, and people go, oh, it's just security. It's not just security, it's just people not understanding what updates are. Will you or someone one day break into the Lotus? Dubious. I'll talk about Lotus stuff eventually, but probably not in the way that you want us to. We're not going to get Lotus code execution. That's not happening. Hesby says, yeah, we haven't fucked with MCU yet either. I definitely uploaded a custom MCU firmware at one point. That stuff's not signed. You just need the JHL magic. So Lotus, regardless of what we do, like privately, if we end up talking to Lotus, I definitely wrote a game cred library to talk to Lotus. Nothing is being done publicly with Lotus. That way lies wares and wares only, and we're really not interested in facilitating piracy. There's also just no incentive to hack the Lotus right now. But I mean, I don't know what more you do on the 3DS. It's fully hacked. We have 100% of key data. We can load our code onto literally every processor that's on that board. Yeah, actually, Nintendo's watching. So, hey, Nintendo, if you use Lotus as a source of secrecy for the console, we will hack it, and stuff will get released, and that's how that will go. I don't really want to do that. I would prefer that the Lotus remains not hacked by wares people. So don't use it as a source of secrecy. We will continue to not touch it in public. I am really interested in it remaining untouched in public. Yes, the 3DS MCU is RL78. I remember that well. I remember that very, very well. Do you remember when we were working on the MCU stuff for trying to use it for reset stuff, Hedgeberg? Yeah, it was for that. Any end-of-life plans? For the 3DS, I have a primary exploit for Pokemon X, Y, Omega Ruby, Alpha Sapphire, Sun, Moon, Ultra Sun, and Ultra Moon. And I plan at the end of the 3DS's life releasing that primary exploit. But that is about it. Yeah, we definitely could have done it way better than if we had. Then I don't even think we had a IDA processor module back then, and I think Gydra just works on RL78 and like can decompile it and everything. Big Dumb 8 says, how long do you think you'll stream tonight? Previously, when I've streamed, it's been like about 4 hours. This will go at least until I'm done labeling TrustZone, and that usually takes a couple of hours. And then I will talk to people, ask what they're interested in my doing, and we'll do that. Yeah. Cool. This will only go as long as it needs to. Novenia asks, what is a primary exploit? A primary exploit is one that does not require you to have a previous form of hacks installed on the console. And so you take your 3DS and you don't need anything else, you can use the exploit. Oh, you wrote a module for it. That's awesome. Wow, okay, cool. Big Cloudbite says, did they disclose? I don't know what you're asking there, actually. 96, I guess this will be 112 now. G device key sources. Yeah, the Pokemon exploit is super good meme. I'm super fond of it. It's near and dear to my heart. It's not nearly as good as the Pokebank exploit, where you take your 3DS and then you dump an Amazon AWS credential for it, and then you send your payload up to AWS, and then when you load your Pokebank, it runs your code on your 3DS. That is, I like to call that a tertiary exploit, because it requires you to have an active connection to Amazon servers and to have previously had hacks to install it, because you need to dump your Pokebank credentials. Pokebank having literally zero validation on the like binary blob that it uploads is my favorite thing. My Pokebank used to store a copy of my 3DS's one-time pad registers, and then the Pokebank exploit was way funnier. I was actually planning originally, before the Switch came out, I was thinking, oh, well, they'll have Pokebank on the Switch. Little I knew. And so then I could have used Pokebank ROP maybe to start attacking the Switch. But the Switch is ASLR, and the Switch also doesn't have Pokebank because, you know, they say, Pokebank is going to be the way that you'll transfer to all future games. We're standardizing on it. Then a few years pass, and it turns out that's not what they're doing. They're actually doing Pokemon Home. I tell myself I'm not mad about that, but I am definitely mad about that. So region visible. So secondary private key. Okay. Man, I cannot wait to try to hack Pokemon Sleep. I don't know to what extent Pokemon Sleep will be hackable, or to what extent there's anything to hack in Pokemon Sleep. But I feel like me personally and hacking a Pokemon Sleep go together really well. That's such a good joke in so many ways. Ellinger says, is the right 9.0 and the left is 9.1.0. Yes, the right is my database that I did on stream for 9.0.0. There's an archive of me filling it out on YouTube. And the left is 9.1.0. And so I'm copying stuff over and checking for if changes as stuff goes along. It says the Pokebank exploit require AWS. So you store your hack payload on the official Pokebank servers, which used AWS. I don't know of any way to get Pokebank to use your servers instead of the official ones, but it's fine because the official servers don't do literally any validation, and so you can just upload your payload. And then PML Pokemon doesn't validate indices, and so you can get it to like touch out of bound memory. I think these are all the same. Yep. How is hacking the new mons into Pokemon Sword and Shield going along? It's coming along casually. I'm not working on like a big project for that or anything. I just want to get some tools done so that other people can do it. My plan is to like make some tools for working with the formats and then let other people deal with the actual stuff. Let me go here. And it's going along. I would love to complain because the like new models are entirely flat buffers. The catalog that tells you what our file is, what Pokemon is a flat buffer. The Pokemon model itself is a flat buffer. The Pokemon configuration descriptor is a flat buffer. The Pokemon animation configurations are flat buffers. The animations themselves are just flat buffers containing quaternion data. I hate flat buffers so very deeply, and I hate the fact that Game Freak is using so many fucking flat buffers. It's super gross in every way. Hedberg says, "Are you fucking kidding me? The way you pronounced quaternion." I'm gonna be honest. I don't know how that word is pronounced. I assume my pronunciation is wrong, and it's wrong in a way that's really funny, so I'm going to own that. And I'm going to continue to say quaternion. Razor X 2014 says, "Do you think there'll be an updated PS4 exploit once the PS5 is released?" I have no idea. I don't do Sony stuff. I only touch Nintendo. Nox Tuck says, "What's a flat buffer?" It's like a Google format for serializing binary data. It's really gross. Do you think they did that to piss you off and possibly deter you from hacking their games? Well, they definitely did one thing to try to irritate me. It is maybe a little egotistical to say that this company, the Pokemon company, is doing things specifically to irritate me, but also factually, they did this to irritate me. So the new Pokemon games, Sword and Shield, have encrypted save files, and the like save file cryptography is this like home rolled thing where the save is now split up into blocks, and each block has a U32 key. The whole save file is also encrypted with like a static XOR pad for no reason, which is worthless. And each block has this 32-bit key, which takes the pop count taken for it, and then it's used to see like a XOR shift RNG, where the RNG is advanced population count times, and then XORed on a 32-bit basis with the contents of the block. And it's super gross, and they keep stuff encrypted in memory at runtime, and the save file contents, the save file like accessor code is all virtual, it's deeply nested, it's obfuscated. And so when I think to myself, well, the new Pokemon games have their save files heavily obfuscated. There's like 6 levels of virtual call nesting. And it's all run through a C++ obfuscator. Do I think that was done to irritate me? Yes. Yes, I do think that was done to irritate me. Did it irritate me? I cracked it in a couple of hours. Factually, I'm pretty sure that cost them a lot of money to implement, and it wasted like 6 hours of my time. So that's their cost-benefit trade-off. But, you know, it's their prerogative. They are allowed to do that. It's their game. But it's also a waste of their money. So, you know. Also, yes, if you have a Switch LED on 8.0.1, you'll eventually be able to like run Homebrew and stuff, but I don't know if you'll ever be able to run Atmosphere. I've definitely commented on that on previous streams, so check out a previous stream, I guess. 7301860. I think these numbers are all the same. Yeah, these numbers seem like the same. Okay, no carve out changes. Thoughts on space junk and impending death by asteroid. Okay, well, in the fullness of time, which is to say in the next very long time, yeah, sure, the probability that Earth will be struck by an asteroid is like 1. Is that at all relevant to us? No. Do we need to care about it? No. There aren't any asteroids coming in the next 100 to 1,000 years, and anything on a timescale larger than that doesn't really matter right now. Does it matter? Yes. Does it matter right now? No, not especially. And so I guess that's my stance on that. That is my children's problem, not my problem. Is it primarily you or Kurt who is responsible for updating PK Hex? Kurt manages PK Hex. I do research and I implement stuff for it. Like, I did a lot of the dumping stuff for PKNX, and I did all of the cryptography stuff for Sword and Shield, and like all of the like labeling of where things are was my research for Sword and Shield. But Kurt is a much better C# developer than I am, and PK Hex is his project, so he does all of that. An energy crisis in 1,000 years is definitely our problem. Yeah, Chairman Rose there. Normal dude. How close is it to Sun and Moon's implementation? What do you mean by that, Nikki? I don't know what you mean by how close is it to the implementation. Save crypto stuff. The save crypto stuff is literally completely different. There is nothing in common. It is all new, and I was not able to get any symbols from Sun and Moon over into the save stuff for Sword and Shield. But also, I didn't even bother labeling the save stuff because it's all virtual and it's obfuscated, so it doesn't matter. PK Hex and PKNX are two different editors that Kurt and I work on. Mostly Kurt. PK Hex is a save file editor for every generation of Pokemon game. PKNX is a ROM hacking tool. It's basically Kurt and I going, okay, we have all of these tools that we have made to make data mining easy so that we can dump data. And if you can dump data, you can edit data. So we make editors for Pokemon games. And PKNX bundles all of our editors into one package so that you can make your own Pokemon ROM hack or randomize if you want. You did any work on the model importer you were talking about? Kind of. I mean, I've been idly documenting the flat buffer formats, but like my job there is to produce flat buffer specifications so that other people can import and export the models. Flat buffer is like a Google data format. Old Spice Body Wash, do you have any knowledge on the Dark Ball reference in the Sword and Shield NSO? I don't think that's a new thing. I'm pretty sure that's just them calling things a weird thing. If there's like new Dark Ball stuff, let me know about it later. I wasn't aware of anything new in that regard. What reference is it? Cool. This is all labeled. Awesome. Heads up, I can't really look at screenshots while I'm labeling TrustZone, but send it after I finish the TrustZone labeling, or just DM it to me on Discord later, and I'll look at it later. Why did they use flat buffers instead of message pack? Because they're assholes. Done. Answered. Because they are assholes. I fucking hate flat buffers. The real answer for why did they use flat buffers is because Google auto-generates C++ code for you if you use them, and so they get like all of their accessor stuff for free. Flat buffers are like fine from a development point of view, I guess. Like from Game Freak's perspective, they're actually probably not the wrong choice, but they are ridiculously obnoxious from a reverse engineering point of view. They don't save any schema information, and they have all fields are fully optional, and every object has a virtual table for its binary layout, which tells you how fields are laid out. So fields can be in any order, which really fucks with your ability to tell what field is what when reading stuff in a hex editor. Yeah, I hate flat buffers, but I've gotten really good at reading flat buffers by eye. Like I can get a pretty accurate schema for basically any flat buffer if I have like 20 minutes to go over it in a hex editor, which is, you know, one neat trick. Tell your mom about it. What can you do that makes you special? Oh, I can read flat buffers by eye because Game Freak likes making my life sad. What monitor are you using for this? Great question. I have a Dell monitor that I got like 4 years ago. And I don't know what kind of monitor it is. I have 2 monitors. I'm using one of them for the stream VM right now, and one of them for like chat and Discord, in case someone messages me something urgent. And is there any way to tell what my monitor is from within Windows? There probably is. Display settings, maybe? He's using a secure monitor. Fuck, that's a really good joke. Wow, okay. Hedgeberg, how would I see in my main not virtual machine what kind of monitor I have? Yeah, sure, I'm in a virtual machine. I got that. How do I see what display I have? Okay, I know I'm not doing anything here. Device manager, okay. I'm opening device manager in my host right now, so I hope you guys are happy. And by you guys, I mean Nikki. Wait, no, that's in the VM. God damn it. Why does it open... I swear I'm trying to do this in the host right now. not in the VM. Yeah, I'm aware that I'm in a virtual machine, Hedgeberg. Thank you. By the way, the real secret that these streams reveal is that I am remarkably incompetent. I know I seem really competent, but I am, in fact, an idiot. Monitors. Okay, I have two monitors. On the left, I have a Dell E2214H. And that is what I'm using for this stream right now. The virtual machine has full screen on that Dell monitor. And then I have an Acer monitor on the right, which Device Manager says is an S212HL open paren HDMI. Close paren. I think it just says how it's connected. But yeah. Dell E2214H and an Acer S212HL. I think those are old monitors, but I haven't needed a new monitor in quite some time. We need this information to create an accurate 3D model of your room. Yeah, you know, I really look forward to the day when some enterprising individual analyzes the echo in the audio from my streams in order to reconstruct my room. It'll happen. I'm entirely certain that someone will do that in the next year or three. And I really look forward to someone producing a 3D model of my room from this audio. Good luck. I look forward to it. I think I need you to move your mic around your desk. Tell you what, on the next time I stream, I will move my microphone to the other side of my desk. And then you can do that. Yeah, this is going to be a function chunk for like other stuff too. Got it. Undefine it. Mark it as a function. Fix that back to be a function again. Awesome. That's not true. You just said you could do it. And so, Hedgeberg, I'm going to need you to understand that you've just committed to doing this, and if you don't reconstruct my room from this audio, we are no longer friends. I appreciate you for understanding, and I hope you understand that it's not personal. It's just that you've already taken it upon yourself, and there are no take-backsies. Right, this is the function chunk for get xmob output. I think if I do it here before I do any other xmobs, it'll work right. Looks like it. Excellent. Get xmob output. Hashmig says, well, I guess I'm starting a PhD now to save our marriage because someone has unrealistic standards of beauty. You know what? You married me for my unrealistic standards of beauty, and I will be deeply hurt if you're trying to back out now. You know, it's really rude if you'd even ask something like that. Architect says, I understand that you were just comparing with legacy code to rename stuff in the latest diff, but how did you start with the very first rename style? Actually, that's a good question. So Nikki says the first SwitchOS updates symbols they forgot to strip. But that's actually not true for the secure monitor. The secure monitor has never had any symbols except for like super beta stuff. But even then, it doesn't have symbols. It just has like a git string that tells you a file name, and it tells you what the git directory is for their secure monitor project, which interestingly is not the git directory for the rest of Horizon. But that's another topic. And the upshot is just basically, I dumped the secure monitor for 1.0.0 in December. And I went through and I looked at what the code did and I said, well, what does it seem like this function is doing? And then I gave it a name, and I made up a name that made sense based on what it did. And I have stuck with those names over many firmware versions. You want a divorce? Joke's on you. You think you can divorce me? I am fundamentally not divorceable. You don't have cause. I will not agree to your papers. I will fight you in court. You don't get to divorce me. Which of your in-laws do you fight over for their Python preferences? Well, I don't fight any of my in-laws because none of my in-laws know anything about computers. And so I just don't talk to them about stuff. Do my in-laws have opinions? Probably not. Well, Hedgeberg, do you know why you really don't want to divorce me? You don't want to divorce me because I'm $5,000 better than you. Just like Ida is $5,000 better than Gydra. You can't afford to lose me. Fuck, that's so ridiculous. Anyway. What is the earliest version of Horizon that you have a copy of? Early. By which I mean it's early enough that it doesn't actually have a version number. Yeah. Fatal Frame says the Sword and Shield maintenance starting soon. Update maybe? Maybe? I mean, I don't really care if there's an update. It's not like it matters. I wrote a script to take these symbols that I've ported from Sun and Moon to Sword and Shield and automatically port them in the future. So I presume if there's an update, and I don't think there'll be an update, but maybe there will be, then I will just run the script, and then I'll continue and not really care. Yeah, I don't try to talk about hacking with people because no one understands what hacking is, and yeah. Oh god, can you hack my Facebook? Yes, that question too. I get mad sometimes. Not often. I'm actually very good at getting mad, only rarely. But that question, and that question in particular. I don't know if I'm a hacker. How much hacking do you have to do to qualify as a hacker? I never got my badge, and I'm told that you're supposed to get a badge when you become an official hacker, but nobody has given me my badge yet, and so I suspect that I'm not actually a hacker. I think that's the reasonable conclusion, anyway, is that nobody has given me my formal hacker badge, and so I can't be considered a hacker. Arcade says, we have a running theory in my server that you are, in fact, multiple people. Since you're doing so much work with Atmosphere while doing Sword and Shield stuff with Kurt, having a steady law career is humanly impossible. Yeah, you might say it's humanly impossible, but what you're missing is sheer force of will and also heavy sleep deprivation. I mean, the difference is I don't sleep very much, and I am very, very good at working on whatever I'm working on for, like, 12 hours at a time and not getting sidetracked, and yeah. I mean, in a typical night, I will sit down, I'll have dinner at like 6 or 7, I'll sit down at like 7:30 or 8, and then I will work until like 3 or 4 in the morning, and I won't get very distracted during that time. And I mean, it's I assume the sleep thing is just a genetic thing. Yeah. Boy, they incremented the package 2 version. What a change. Yeah, unsurprisingly, there's been like literally no differences other than the change to the CPU ACTLR configuration. Yeah, I mean, I am definitely only one person. God, this reminds me of when someone was like asking me, how do you get your team to work properly? And I was like, what is my team? There was some guy who like was convinced that I had like a group of people working working for me, and I wish I had a group of people working for me. That would be nice. But no, it's just me. Yeah, in a sense, I definitely do have people working for me since we have like reswitched moderators. But also, everyone in the reswitched moderator team is my friend, and I prefer to think of them as friends and not as people who quote-unquote work for me, because they don't really work for me. And also, everything is like volunteer, and no one is obligated to do anything. I prefer to keep friends and employees separate. Yeah, no, there are definitely other people who work on this stuff. There are definitely other people who work on this stuff, and who work on this stuff effectively. Hapskiven1 says, Fish Pokemon, why we cannot make CFW to patched or light model? Can you explain? Very simple, please. Yes. Fish Pokemon says, Nintendo do good job, not hackable. Light good security. Please. Can you even be forcibly removed from the Twitch chat room, Hedge? You're a moderator in this channel, I think. Dick : out is a good meme. It is a very good meme. Please don't actually ban yourself. I mean, it's funny. It's so funny. But also, wow, would it be a pain if you actually banned yourself. Okay, is anything different here? It doesn't look so at first glance, but looks can be deceiving. Who knows? Maybe stuff will be different. Fred Keenan, I don't understand. I wasn't aware that you were allowed to marry people other than your dad. Yep, you've got it right, Fried Keenan. Arcadate. Yes, I do plan on releasing my Game Freak binary Pokemon catalog schema. I will release that and a few other schemas in the foreseeable future. Like, Atmosphere is taking very much priority over Pokemon stuff at the moment. But I will be releasing that stuff, don't worry. On that note, how is there no post about 9.1.0 in SwitchX? Is it just stuck in the mod queue? It might just be stuck in the mod queue, or there might not be a post about it. I definitely believe that no one would have made a post about it. Also, I'm objectively sleep deprived at the moment, so I'm sorry if if the conversations are like stupider than usual tonight. I, I was up until 7 in the morning my time working on Atmosphere Man in the Middle to get Laredifus working, and I got it working at like 6:30 in the morning, and then I spent 30 minutes testing it, and then once I was satisfied that it was all working, I slept, and then I got up at 8:30 and went to work. It's been a long day, but such is life. If my humor is stupider than usual, just Edgebrink says, how is there no post about 9/11 in r/SwitchX? You know, 9/11 shouldn't be funny. Really shouldn't be. Took the words right out of my brain. Put them in the chat. Speaking of testing, is there a way to unit test Atmosphere? No, there is not. I wish that there was a way to unit test Atmosphere. The fact that I can't unit test anything in Atmosphere is a source of enormous frustration for me. But I don't have any suggestions or any solutions for that, so that's how it is. If you have ideas for how to unit test Atmosphere, hit me up with them, because I would love to know how to unit test Atmosphere, but I have no suggestions and no idea. The problem is that Atmosphere works too close to the metal in so many ways that I just can't really test it. Right, like all of the interesting code is either doing service calls, which I can't really unit test, or require a kernel implementation, which, I mean, I'm going to be working on a kernel implementation, but that's going to take a while. Or it's like doing hardware stuff, or like the man in the middle. All of the man in the middle IPC stuff, it requires communication dancing between like 4 or 5 processes, because service manager like makes the sessions and then it defers everything until the actual man in the middle process acts it, and then it needs to send an accepts, and the client info gets propagated through loader and process manager. It's everything is this huge complicated interlaced dance, and I don't know how I would begin to unit test it. Hitchbrick says 9/11 wouldn't be funny if it were real. Yeah, I agree. Took the words right out of my mouth. It's so bad. But, okay. Script command. So what I want to do here is, Normat wrote this lovely script for me last time, which I'm going to use. Where label ARX64 exceptions, where I set my thing to be at the right place, and then I hit run, and then everything is theoretically named. So let's see if that worked. Alignment 0x80, alignment 0x80. This is so much better than when I had to label all these by hand. If you have seen a previous TrustZone stream, you have seen me label all of these by hand, and this script is so much better. Speaking of my giving answers on how people should educate themselves, this is your friendly reminder that Python 2 is the correct Python version, and anyone looking to learn Python should start out with Python 2 because it's better for beginners. You know, some people are going to say that Python 2 is going to get its official support removed, and I say that doesn't really matter. I'm going to continue using Python 2. No one can stop me. Python 2 is correct. There are no problems. Fuck you for forever. The only thing I can really say to that hedge is, thanks, Dad. FAQ. Yeah, let's do the FAQ stuff first. FAQ, A64, exception. Cancel. I wanted to go to that, not the other thing. Let's see. Handle queue exception. Also, it sounds like the heater in my home just came on. So if you hear like a hissing noise, I apologize for that. But I also don't know if it's even audible to you guys. Yeah, there's no changes in the registered interrupt code. No, the Python stuff, there's like this slowdown for certain crypto code, and the string stuff is just awful and does not at all match the semantics of how strings should work. You know, I have a list of like 4 or 5 reasons why I prefer Python 2, but I'm not sure that anyone really benefits from my getting deep into them on stream. Like, the only thing that will result is Hedgeberg saying, you're such an asshole. Why are you such a stubborn dick? And while that's fun, I don't know that's what we're looking for. Well, if you have an aneurysm, that wouldn't be the worst thing. I did take out a life insurance policy, you know. I'm just saying, there are worse results. Big Dom 8 says, when you on an early copy of Sword or any previous Pokemon game and take a look at all the data, you can contact with Joe from Cerebi. Joe is a long-time friend of mine. When I find things in Pokemon games, I definitely shoot him summaries because he is interested. I mean, we both love Pokemon, so he's a friend. I've hung out with him in person at Worlds before. He's a really good guy. Arcadate, you just use like a proxy. You use a patch for the disables CA validation and then just like run it through Charles or whatever. Most of the communications for Sword and Shield are WebSockets, and a lot of it is protobuf. It's pretty simple. Did not mean to hit help. Is Ray dead? I have no idea. Probably not. I think I would have heard about it if he died. Okay. So we've gotten to the point in the stream where it's time to label all of the secure monitor calls. These are like the second half of labeling TrustZone. I think I asked this the last time I did this. Does anyone have any preference for whether I do the user secure monitor calls or the privileged secure monitor calls first? I'm happy to do them in either order. Also, I'm going to take this opportunity to drink some water because I have been doing this for like 2 hours and I've had no water. Okay, we got 1 vote for privileged, so that is 1 vote. So let's follow the 1 vote and do the privileged ones first. So let's first just, give them all the right function prototype. I think storage xmod should be an asynchronous. Yeah, it is. Great. So let's take this. Let's make it a function that avoids the function chunk problem. And then let's also, I think, generate AES-kek is one that's consistently asynchronous. And so I can use that to mark this as a function before any other problems happen. This function chunk stuff is so annoying. I really wish that there was a way to work around it. Ateo says, our PID is still completely random, not linked to nature, or whatever. Some of them are definitely linked. For eggs, I think it's totally random. But for raid battles, for example, the RNG is this Zoroshiro 128 with like a 64-bit seed where you get enough output from the PID and the encryption constant that you can actually recover the seed and then legality analyze the resulting Pokemon. So it's more like Gen 4 for max raid battles. For eggs, I think it's totally random. The RNG is not very good for Sword and Shield. SMC. G, SMC in progress. Ugh. And define it. 24 bytes. Same that G, SMC in progress. Do you know how the RAID reset bug works? I don't. But I have not tried to find out how it works at all. Also not sure if it's even a bug. Might not be. Let's get sets C1. Get TI charger bit 1. So TI charger bit 7. Get time. Cool. Now let's actually label all these. Get high Z mode enabled. Yeah, it just gets this configuration thing. Yep. Open song fish Pokemon? I'm not sure what you mean, Pepskin. No, I can't carry a tune. I like have no sense of pitch really, and I can't tell what notes are which, and so I don't sing for that reason. Sorry. So, normal dude. The rest of the stream will be on YouTube, so if you're interested in the rest of it, totally feel free to watch it later. Do you sleep though? Oh, don't worry. I will not really be sleeping tonight. After this stream, I will be working on Atmosphere Man in the Middle, because I really need to get that done. Wake event that. Nothing different here. I will not be surprised if the only differences in this TrustZone revision are like the new master key changes and the thing that we saw in the MMU config, where it sets those bits that kernel loader sets later. That's kind of what I'm expecting at this point, but that's fine. I label TrustZone not because I expect things to change, but because it is my job. Oh, I have never seen Phantom of the Opera, but I have seen the sequel. And I know nothing about Phantom of the Opera itself, but the sequel it's fine. I mean, it wasn't fantastic. I don't even remember what the sequel was called, which is not a good sign for it having been good. But I don't remember it being bad. Hedgebrick says, why did they make a sequel? Presumably for money. The sequel, sorry, spoilers. I'm going to wait 15 seconds before I start talking openly about spoilers for the sequel for Phantom of the Opera. Not that I think anyone here actually cares about that. Yeah, so the sequel is basically the woman runs into the Phantom guy again at like a carnival where he is, and it turns out that she has a son, and the son is actually his. Um, yeah. Oh, also she gets shot, as I recall, and dies on a dock at the end of the play. This has been your Phantom of the Opera sequel summary with Michael Sire. Um, Nah, the son is a totally cute kid, or at least the kid who played it when I saw it was cute. But the girl gets shot, she dies. That's that story. Yeah, I remember it being a totally fine play. Like I think I enjoyed it vaguely, but I barely remember anything of it, and I don't even remember what it's called. So clearly, it didn't leave a lasting impression on me. I think there was one song from it, like "Beauty Underneath," maybe, where the choreography was really good when I saw it. Something like this Hall of Mirrors, kind of, that I enjoyed. I think I remember enjoying that, but you know. You know, some people might ask, Michael, why do you not listen to music or anything when you diff? And the answer is that music is really distracting. My Spotify Wrapped thing, which I think came out today, is super funny because I, there are two ways that I diff stuff when I'm reverse engineering. Either I don't listen to music at all because it would distract me, or I put a song on repeat in the background and it's basically just noise. Um, oh, Love Never Dies. Yeah, that was the sequel that I was talking about. That's the one where she gets shot on the dock at the end. There you go. And so there's just a couple of songs that I will put like on repeat in the background and not really pay attention to. What's this function name? And so they are consistently at the top of my like most listened to music lists because I'm not actually listening to them. Having Twitch chat isn't distracting. Having Twitch chat is objectively distracting. I mean, I'm less productive this way than I would be without Twitch chat. But the conversation is a mechanism by which to keep my focus on task because I know people are watching me work and are interested in what I'm working on. And so it is a helpful distraction. It's a motivating distraction. Like the problem is like nothing ever really changes in TrustZone these days, and so I was getting like bored out of my mind diffing it all the time. And just streaming it has made it so much better because I idly chat while I'm diffing, and that makes the time pass a lot faster because this is pretty mindless. I mean, I can talk about things while I'm diffing, and I don't think I'm really missing anything, or at least I haven't noticed myself missing anything. And this is just so much better than doing it without Twitch chat. Hey, Hedgeberg, I'm actually interested. If you use Spotify, how many minutes of music did you listen to this year? I would like us to compare minutes because I listened apparently to like 13,000 minutes of music this year, and I have no idea if that is a big number or a teensy number. Like, am I a small child or is that a good number? Oh, I said 1,300. I meant 13,000. It is 12,926, if I recall right. No, that's not exactly the right number. It's like 12,900-ish. You're one of those people. You're one of the podcast people. I know a lot of podcast people, and they all swear by it. Power to you. Power to you. I've probably known this objectively. Was I consciously aware of it when I was talking to you about music listening? No. Do I think that I was probably aware of it? Yeah, probably. Helicopter Twitch says, so what exactly are you doing? So Nintendo released a new system update tonight called 9.1.0, and the new update has changed or updated the binary for the Switch's secure monitor, which is like the most trusted bit of code that runs in the system. And does cryptographic security operations. And I'm interested in seeing what changed. And so I am going through and labeling all of the functions in the new binary for TrustZone and giving them all names and checking against my older copy of it, which I'd labeled previously. And on the right half of the screen, there is a copy of the secure monitor for 9.0.0, which I labeled in September. And on the left side is the new one. And so I am taking stuff on the right side and copying it over to the left side. Is it C? This is like C pseudocode. It's not actually C. I mean, it's really assembly, but I work mostly in the pseudocode because I know all of the like ins and outs. Speculation. Nintendo occasionally recompiles TrustZone with no substantial changes. So they actually did do a recompile once that had one instruction changed, and I was like, no, I'm not going to relabel everything for one instruction change. So I took the IDC for that, and then I just manually edited the IDC to adjust all of the function offsets by 4 past a certain point, and that actually worked. And so I've done that in the past when they've like barely changed anything at all. What was the instruction? If I recall right, this was in the like blacklisting of secure monitor calls, and they just changed the like bit mask of stuff that wasn't allowed. Did you teach yourself most of this? You are. Yeah, I mean, this is basically entirely self-taught. Well, self-taught. It is the combination of my pouring hours and hours into it over the course of, like, almost 6 years now, and being surrounded by people who know more than me, or who knew more than me at the time, and who were willing to share instructions with me so that I could learn how to do things on my own. I mean, people being like geniuses and doing things on their own is a total myth. I am only able to be as good at this as I am because when I didn't know a lot of things, there were helpful people in the community who I'm still friends with and who are still active, who held my hand and showed me how to do things. But I put a lot of time into this stuff. And so it's natural when you put in your 10,000 hours or whatever that you get good at this stuff. Cool. That is CPU suspend. There are no changes that I saw. I can check that. I don't think I gave a name to the BPMP firmware binary that it copies, which I maybe should. Yeah. X564. Let's call that G BPMP firmware. I don't need to do that, but I like to do that. Did you like Pokemon Sword and Shield? I'm very conflicted on Pokemon Sword and Shield. They're very good Pokemon games, but also I'm still tilted about the national dex and still super butthurt about that. And it's hard to disentangle my feelings of being super booty blasted about the dex cuts with the fact that they are objectively good Pokemon games. I mean, I definitely said those words, Valiant Stormed. Army14 says, would you be mad if they did more Let's Go Series Gens 2 to 7? I wouldn't be mad. Let's Go isn't my cup of tea. It's not the kind of Pokemon game that I want, but it is... I'm fine with that running concurrently with the main games. I mean, if that's what they really want to do, that's fine. Right, like, Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee was not a Pokemon game that I wanted, but it's a fine Pokemon game. I mean, it's Pokemon mixed with Pokemon Go, and if that makes them money so that they can make Pokemon games that I want at other times, I can live with that. That's fine. I mean, I'm patient. Pokemon is going to continue to make new games, and I am confident that I will get Pokemon games that I want in the future. So there is no reason for me to stress over much about the Pokemon game release plans because Pokemon isn't going anywhere. You're confident there will eventually be a national dex. Yes, I am confident that they will bring the national dex back. I would put the odds of them bringing the national dex back at roughly 1. I think a lot of people are worried right now about whether or not they will ever bring it back, and people have been yelling at them for like a year, and they're not that stupid. Like, I get that people like to like shitpost about Game Freak being lazy or Game Freak not being good developers. Game Freak are good developers. Game Freak do fine. People get super dumb and blame all sorts of things on Game Freak or the Pokemon Company International. I mean, clearly what has happened with the Sword and Shield animation stuff, and I say clearly because it is, in fact, really obvious, is someone at marketing said, hey, it would save us a whole bunch of labor if we did not have to update all of these models every single game. How about Game Freak are good developers? Looks at Meme Crow. Yeah, I mean, Meme Crypto is a separate thing. That's a Nintendo library, not a Game Freak library anyway. But Splatoon 2 used Meme Crypto. Don't forget, it's not Game Freak. Yeah, it's actually called Zorro. It's like RSA OPSSR. It's a Nintendo library and not a Game Freak library. But anyway, someone at marketing went, oh, it would save us a bunch of labor if we could do this. So they told the developers, do this. The developers have done this. There's been a ridiculous amount of pushback. At the end of the day, the managerial decisions are just interested in making the series profitable. And they want good press. And they're going to make another game for the Switch in the next few years, obviously. Like, how do I put this? For the last 3 generations, they have released games that don't have all the Pokemon available without transferring. And then the next set of games, which are like the enhanced versions or whatever, or the sequels, or the remakes in the ORS case, they go, oh, if you take these games and those games and you combine them, you get every Pokemon. And there is literally no reason to believe that their next Switch game for this generation won't follow that pattern. I would, in fact, be willing to place actual money on them doing that. Also, no, I doubt there's going to be a new game next year. We had a gap a couple of years ago. I think, was it between ORS and Sun and Moon or between X and Y and ORS? There was a gap. I think we're due for another gap. Cool. Literally no changes to Secure Monitor Call Kit configuration. Yeah, the whole guidebook stuff is not actually... was this a function chunk? Ugh. Let's see. Yeah, it's a function chunk. It's not actually because they, think, we suffered tons of damages. It is because they are interested in dissuading future leakers. And so if they establish that they are protecting their copyright and going after people who leak, it provides a strong disincentive for people to leak in the future. And that is the whole point of all of that, which is quite sensible. It's what they should be doing. And I mean, the reason they're going after the guidebook leaker and not 4chan is because the guidebook leaker probably had access to the materials that he leaked improperly. I mean, the only way that happens is if someone internal affiliated with the company does it. And so they can pursue because they probably have an NDA or something. Right, the point isn't to... Clearly, they can't stop leaks entirely. Their goal is to disincentivize leakers and to make internal leakers less likely. I actually think that they're pursuing this guidebook stuff is probably a pretty good choice from that perspective. Arcade, the goal isn't to stop leaks entirely. That's not possible. The goal is to stop leaks that come from within the company. It's not futile. Like, you're saying, it's not going to stop 4chan, but they're not worried about stopping 4chan. They're worried about stopping people who they have given privileged information. Right? Like, if they give out if the game gets sold early, obviously someone can just dump it on 4chan. But there's a big difference between that and privileged and confidential information being leaked. And they are interested in preventing privileged and confidential information from being leaked. People confuse and conflate their goals, which leads to the, there's no point, but there absolutely is. It's different from what they're trying to do. Okay, because the guidebook leak happens way before the game came out. That happened because someone stole a copy from the printing press with whom they had an agreement. I mean, that was not the guidebook being shipped. The guidebook didn't ship until after the game came out. The guidebook thing was absolutely smart for them to pursue because it's super clear-cut, someone violating the terms of an agreement. Yeah, no, the guidebook is a super internal leak, which is why they have been pursuing it the way they have. I mean, the Pokemon Company is too big to do things unreasonably. There is always some reasoning behind what they're doing, even if I don't agree with the reasoning behind what they're doing. How many people do you think continuously work on Horizon? That's a good question. Given the number of changes that they make on a regular basis, and given the amount of stuff that is happening in their SDK, I would guess, let's say 10 to 15 people who are kernel developers, and then let's say 15 to 30 people who are core OS developers, and then 25 people who are more generally Nintendo SDK developers. Those seem like reasonable first order estimate numbers to me. I think there are probably between there are probably 40 to 50 people who I would say work on Horizon, and with a broader definition, 80 to 100 people who I would say work on Horizon. Continuously work, there are probably between 30 and 60 people whose job is to do Horizon development. It also depends on whether or not you count the Ocean team, which is responsible for the applets and not just the core part of the OS, which is debatable. Yeah, it is a good viewer count. Yeah, these are going to be identical. They always are. Yeah, I mean, Pokemon Go is not going to cut Pokemon out. Okay, that is all of the privileged secure monitor calls. So now it's just the user calls. Well, also there's the warm boot stuff, but that doesn't take very much time. And this has been flying by. This has been super great. Awesome. Manzanetta says, what would you like to do if it wasn't software development? If I had to pick a job that wasn't software development, I would probably say contract law. That seems about right for me. It's kind of like gut feeling. Yeah. I see you with your funny what ifs, and all that I can really say is I answered the question. I answered the question completely and thoroughly. Do you have time for watching TV shows? Sometimes. If so, what's your favorite legal drama? I do not watch legal dramas. I like Stranger Things. I like BoJack Horseman. BoJack Horseman is definitely my favorite anime. You can probably hear the railroad near my house at the moment. You know, I don't watch a lot of TV, but I like BoJack a lot. I've never seen Mr. Robot, so I don't know how to comment on it. You know, favorite episode of BoJack Horseman, probably the one with Princess Caroline and BoJack in the restaurant, the bottle episode where they had the relationship. But man, if I don't love that episode that's about gun control, where that line at the end every single time. What a great episode. Have a good night, Big Dumb 8. Hope you enjoyed. The next stream I do will probably be me implementing kernel loader. I think that will be really interesting. Oh yeah, Free Churro and Times Arrow obviously are incredible pieces of television. You know, I used to watch Game of Thrones, but I know I am not the first to say this, and I know this is a common opinion. Holy shit, this season this year was awful. Wow, that was disappointing. really gets me about the season is that I just don't understand why Jon Snow didn't just sleep with his aunt. It's clearly the attraction is there. It's not a problem. No one in that show actually cares about the incest. Like, the show clearly has no one in that time has an issue with that. Could have just slept with his aunt. Would have solved all the problems. Completely unrealistic for him not to sleep with his aunt. Exactly. Thank you. So, Old Spice Body Wash. Jon Snow definitely does fuck his aunt, but then he discovers that she's his aunt, and then he gets grossed out and stops doing it. And that's where he goes wrong. Like, all of the bad stuff at the end of that season, totally preventable if Jon Snow could have just, manned up, fucked his aunt, not been, like, stupid about it. Artea says, when can I expect the update atmosphere? Probably on Sunday. I'm shooting for Sunday. Could be Saturday, could be Monday, but I'm shooting for Sunday. If stuff is done on Sunday, I will consider it a good result. You are pretty late, Stuck Pixel, but welcome anyway. So what do you have to do once you finished what you're doing now? Good question. I don't know if there's anything else obvious for me to stream right now, but for atmosphere, I need to finish the atmosphere, man in the middle, refactor/rewrite. There's like 6 commands left for me to do. So I'm gonna do that. This update looks minor enough that there's not much for me to diff elsewhere. I guess the C report and RO system modules got updated, but I don't really care enough to look at those for another few days. I would much rather get atmosphere ready and then look at those, because it doesn't seem like they got service command differences. So probably once I'm done labeling TrustZone, I'll stick around for like 20 or 30 minutes. I'll answer some more questions. Then I'll eat something and then resume working on atmosphere development. And I'm probably not going to sleep very much tonight. I think I'm probably going to shoot to go to sleep at like 5 in the morning and then get up at 8, and that'll be like 3 hours of sleep, and that'll be enough for me to function, since I only slept like an hour and a half last night. But I want to get this atmosphere stuff done and sorted and not have my plate so full. The sooner I can get stuff wrapped up, the better. Old Spice Body Wash says, wait, how is your memory, Cyrus? My memory's good. I have a very good memory. In the words of our president, I have a very good brain. How would that little amount of sleep? I mean, I sleep 3 to 4 hours in a normal night. That's normal. Like, in a typical night, I will go to sleep at like 3 to 5 and get up at like 6 to 8. Hedgeberg thinks it's genetic. That's like a superpower. It is very advantageous. I get a lot of use out of not sleeping very much. My days are long, and they're longer than a lot of people's, and I take great advantage of that. I mean, that's how I manage to get so much done, is a combination of some mental thing that lets me focus really well for long periods of time. Well, it's hard for me to start focusing on a task. Like, it's actually very difficult for me to start focusing. But once I'm focused, I don't have issues like working for like 8 to 12 hours without stopping. Do you have a regular diet too? I have like kind of a medical thing with my diet. I don't really get hungry of my own accord. I get pressure headaches if I don't eat for long enough. And so I like will forget to eat a lot of the time. I as a result of my forgetting to eat so often, I usually have one really big meal instead of a couple of meals. But that's not like a choice. That's just I forget to eat a lot, and so it's become habit. But I mean, my diet is I don't have any special diet. I mean, I am like 6 feet tall. I'm 6'0", so I am 6 feet tall, and I am like 135 pounds? Question mark. I am not large. I'm pretty sure actually that my BMI literally qualifies as malnourished. But you know, that's what it is. That's been the case my whole life. Even when I was being fed by parents when I was much younger, there was this great period in my life where I was told by a doctor that I should try drinking Carnation instant breakfast drinks with half and half instead of milk twice a day. And let me tell you, that shit's gross. But I did it for like a year and a half. Did not gain any meaningful weight. I don't really know how to gain weight. My diet, I mostly just don't worry about what I'm eating because I have never been able to gain weight in my life. And no matter what I do, I don't seem to lose much weight either and stay in the like 130 to 140 range. Circle says it's only when you're focused on something, it just happens only when you're hyper focused on something. No, it happens even if I'm not particularly focused. I will like forget to eat even if I'm just like reading a book or whatever. I'm remarkably bad at remembering to eat. I'm like led to believe that the common situation is that you get like weird feelings in your stomach, maybe. I mean, I can identify I need to eat because I get pressure headaches behind my eyes, which are like migraines except not as bad. But no, I mean, if I haven't eaten in like 16 hours, I will get a bad headache, but I don't get signals other than that. Yeah, Manzanana. It is both good in some ways and bad in some ways. I mean, the goods are obvious, but it is also a medical problem where I am malnourished and I don't even know how to begin evaluating my health. Like, I suspect that it's deeply bad for me, but I don't even know how to begin evaluating it. I don't know how to tell. And conventional advice is pretty much worthless in my case. So, you know, there are goods and bads. It is convenient in a lot of ways for the types of things that I like to do, but I don't know that it's positive overall. Hey, Masan. Good to see you dropping in. Yeah, I mean, I consider the body weight stuff a health problem. I don't have any solutions for this health problem, but I do consider it to be a health problem, which I think is probably the correct way to feel about it, all things considered. Arizona says you should stream more often. Yeah, I like streaming. Yeah, it's mostly just... I always think that what I'm doing is just not that interesting, which I guess is just not true, but... I'm very much planning, once the Atmosphere Man in the Middle refactor rewrite stuff is done, I'm very excited to be doing this kernel loader reimplementation. I think that'll be a really, really good stream. I think that'll be really good content. The plan is I'm going to take my kernel loader database, and I'm going to go through the process from start to finish of take this Nintendo binary and produce equivalent C++ code that does the same thing, and then insert it into Atmosphere and run it on device. I think that'll be really cool. I think it'll be really cool for people to see how reverse engineered code gets turned into Atmosphere code. Also, I like kernel loader. I also think that once I'm working on Mesosphere, it would be really fun to like stream kernel development. I bet that working on the kernel would be interesting to people. And so that will be nice too. What are your thoughts on this new supposed gateway entry point for Kaphotics? It's fake news. That sums up my thoughts. Thank you for listening. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. They might have something for glitching. Personally, I doubt it. It's not implausible. If it turns out they have something for glitching, I'll go, okay, sure. But they definitely don't have anything for Mariko, and they definitely don't have anything glitching for Mariko. If they're claiming that they've done any glitching stuff at all for Mariko, that is absolute fake news. They're lying. I don't see any particular reason to think that it's not just entirely fake news at the moment, and so I think it is entirely fake news at the moment. Yes, Mariko does have considerable anti-glitching. which is why I am very comfortable saying any claims involving glitching there are just them lying for money. But that's what they do. They take code that's not theirs, and then they lie, and then they make money. I mean, I use GBA temp, and I am aware that it is run by, at the end of the day, by people who are basically the same people running Gateway. It is the only place where enough people are that you kind of have to use it, but it is also objectively run by Gateway, if not sympathizers, then team members, since Gary Opa, I think, is involved in GBA temp and is literally Gateway. So what can you do? Yeah, did I mislabel this? I did. Yeah, I did name that wrong. Yeah, so the team that is calling themselves Team Executor is not the original Team Executor from the Xbox days. It's just Gateway, who was a 3DS piracy group. They bought the rights to that name and they rebranded because their reputation went down the drain at the end of the 3DS's life cycle. And so they're like, Team Executor rebranding has just been a way for them to try to take advantage of users. I mean, Gateway is just Gary Opa and Maximilian mostly, I think. But they're out in, I think, fuck, is it the Cayman Islands or something? So, you know, it's not like they can really be pursued legally because they're in a safe haven, which sucks. By the way, here's your history lesson. Maximilian of Gateway fame, Gateway head honcho / owner, is in fact the same Maximilian from Paradox Wares way back in the day. He has a Wikipedia page. Look him up. Blauwire isn't really officially affiliated. He's just someone they pay to shill. He's also just a troll. Like my read on Blauwire is just the guy loves to troll, and has found that Gateway will work with him to allow him to troll effectively, and so he does. It's weird because sometimes he can be almost harmless, and then at other times he is just like the biggest asshole. Whatever. He's a known troll. Nothing to be done about trolls except acknowledge the fact that they're trolls and move on. Yeah, Hedge said it best. By the way, this AES GCM code is actually in NN SDK. Like this GCM code that I'm labeling right now, I don't know if I've commented this on previous streams, but it is literally the same AES GCM code that's present in NN::: crypto. And so, you know, if you're interested in how their AES GCM stuff works, look there because it's way easier to understand than this, and also you get symbols if you look at it from if you look at it in the SDK NSO. Actually, says looking at the compilation, is that some large object in the stack? So there are two things going on here. The first is that this code uses the FPU registers, and so Nintendo has some stack object that I presume has a constructor that saves all of the FPU registers and a destructor that restores them. They're writing in C++, and so we know that they're using constructors and destructors since that's my best model for this. And so that's all of this crap, is just them saving all of the floating point registers and restoring all of the floating point registers. And then the other thing is that there is this 0x190 byte object on the stack that they use to do AES GCM crypto. And so, yes, there is a large object on the stack, but most of what you're seeing in that decompilation is actually the floating point register save and restore. By the way, it has occurred to me, I was confused for the longest time why they were using a pointer to a key slot, which just seemed moronic to me. But then I realized they're writing this in C++. This is a reference. This is a reference to a key slot. And the reference gets compiled into a pointer. This is probably a constant reference. And so when they do this really weird thing, let me label this AES GCM crypt func, where I gave it this awful name before I really understood what it was, which is encrypt single AES ECB block by key slot pointer and sizes, which is a huge mouthful. But this key slot pointer is actually definitely a constant reference to an integer. Also, references can be pointers under the hood, but they are not always. I have learned over time that if you see something suspicious, where it looks like someone is using a pointer for no reason, it's probably a constant reference. Or just a reference. R-value references are really weird. There's sometimes pointers and sometimes like actual moved around. It depends on the function. Those are kind of context sensitive. And it also depends on the compiler. Also, I don't know if I've commented this on a previous stream, but man, I love this function. This function is so good. A reverse 16-byte vector. It takes in a 128-bit floating point value, and it reverses the bytes. And the way it does this is this table instruction, where the table instruction takes this value that's loaded into Q1 and applies it to this. And basically each value in this input gets lookup tabled from this, and then they just have this in memory FEDCBA 98765432110. And so this table lookup reverses the byte ordering of their 128-bit integer. And I love this function. I know it's simple, but one instruction, single instruction 16-byte vector reversal is awesome. I love it. Ooh, don't do crimes? That's a bold suggestion, Hedgeberg. What if I want to do a crime? Did you consider that? Let me assure you, Shadow Ninja, it is in fact still a crime if you don't get caught. Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Fight Keenan. What if I want to become a criminal and fuck my aunt? Thank you for putting the words exactly into my mouth. Yeah, Noxious Ninja. That table instruction is basically a generic use one 16-byte vector as a lookup table to determine how to shuffle around the bytes of the other. So it lets you arbitrarily swap around the bytes of a 16-byte vector using another 16-byte vector as a lookup. It is explicitly for vector swizzling. Man, this reminds me, Hedgeberg, like, I just don't understand how so many people end up secretly being pedophiles. Like, it is so easy not to be a pedophile. It is, in fact, the default state not to be a pedophile. And I don't understand how so many people fuck up something so basic. I have. Yes, indeed. That would have been my commentary on that topic. It's not so complicated, Pai Pai. It's just, turns out people continue to turn out to be secretly pedophiles. And don't understand why this is so hard for people. It is so easy not to be a pedophile. And people keep turning out to be secret pedophiles. And you would think that they would look around and see, hey, people keep getting shat on because they keep being pedophiles. And they would go, I'm not going to be a pedophile because that's wrong. And then they don't. God, is it frustrating. Yeah, what Hedrick is going to say is that the thing about the console hacking community is that there are a lot of kids in the console hacking community because we are hacking a company that markets to kids. And the result is that along with those kids come a lot of people who want to take advantage of those kids, which is really shitty. By the way, I would observe that there have been literally zero changes to the user mode or privileged secure monitor calls so far. They are all completely the same. Well, generate AES kek has the usual change, where if you go to generate AES kek, we will see that the maximum key index has been incremented because now you can use a new master key. And that is the only change so far, which is just the usual master key change. No, Pepskiven, JoJo is not the best anime. You are wrong about that. BoJack Horseman is the best anime. StarCook's wait, why did you undefine those? Because if you try to define an array and it overlaps, no, it won't undefine them for you, StarPixel. If you define an array and it overlaps with stuff that is already defined, the array will get its type, but it won't actually consolidate the memory to be that array, and the decompiler output will be wrong. The reason I do that is because it only actually identifies the first write to the array and not the later ones. It's a problem that I get a lot, and I'm very familiar with how to fix it. 3DS has some pretty good memes. Do you remember that guy who spread 3DS malware that uploaded your console's unique data certificate to his server and encrypted the stuff it was doing, and it had a Discord message saying if you were a cute boy and looking for another cute boy, contact Discord Sono maybe. God, what a time that was. I think about that a lot. What a ridiculous... Wait, has very good. Man, it's so weird how you use IDA. What is weird about the way I use IDA? I was not aware that I did anything particularly weird in IDA. I mean, I just do things the way that I have learned is most efficient. What am I doing that's weird? Maybe it's just the way I move my mouse. I'm sorry if I move my mouse oddly. I apologize. I'm sure I'm inadvertently committing some kind of a war crime, and so I apologize preemptively for that. Not preemptively. Postemptively? What is the word that means the opposite of preemptively? Thank you. I mean, I think Moose Hunter commented that it's weird that I clicked the back button instead of hitting escape. And it's because escape is hard for me to hit with my left hand. And the way that I use IDA is I keep my left hand with the left pinky on control and kind of shift. And the rest of my fingers spread out over like the left half of the keyboard, which is all where all the shortcuts are. My thumb hits N when I want to name something. And so I'm using my right hand to manipulate the mouse at the same time that I'm using my left hand to control all of the shortcuts that I might be using. And so it is faster for me to move my right hand to get the mouse to the back button in the corner than it is for me to like change the way my left hand is to hit the escape button, because escape is far away. Like, I don't even know what finger I would hit escape with it. That's weird. Pep Skyven, I am not a lesbian. I do like women, but I am a man, so I am necessarily not a lesbian. I am cisgendered and heterosexual. If you are asking about my sexuality in general, but it's mostly not a relevant topic to these streams, I feel. Cool. That is all of the user mode secure monitor calls. The only thing left is the warm boot entry, as I recall, and that's going to be at 701 2800. Yes, it is going to be at 701 2800. Is there a branch to a location? There sure is. Time to make that a function and make that a function and then make this a function. And that way we avoid stubs by doing it in that order. Okay. Warm boot 0 to 0. Yep, this looks like the same as always. The warm boot acquire lock. Good night, Noxious Ninja. I hope that you've enjoyed the stream so far, at least for the technical content. Like I said, I apologize in advance because I am heavily sleep deprived, and the weird conversation keeps me going. It feeds my soul. But if it's weirding you out, I apologize. I hope you've enjoyed so far. Also, yeah, Hedgeberg is like the primary moderator, and Hedgeberg is also sick. I super appreciate the fact that Hedgeberg is moderating at all, considering Hedgeberg messaged me earlier today being, I'm sick. And I very helpfully suggested to consider not being sick. Oh, it's okay if you need at least 6 hours of sleep. I'm told that's normal. Yeah, Major Copy. So what you missed is that I have been on and off sick for like the last couple of weeks. I'm sorry. Clearly I got Hedgeberg sick remotely, but like last week I had a flu, or the flu analog, I guess, between like Monday and Wednesday, which was awful. God, why do I keep adding a W into UArt? I mean, I guess like the U, my brain immediately goes to the W because uwu, but that's also terrible. Like, I shouldn't be. I can feel my brain wanting to type uwu art, like UWUART, and I really don't want my brain to be wanting to type that. Crafts my product called it uwu art. Yeah. You're welcome for the free branding. Cool. I think actually that in the depths of this uwu art stupidity, we have actually finished labeling all of TrustZone. That sure looks like it is a fully labeled TrustZone to me. That looks pretty good. What does this do? That's shall I secure. What other functions don't have names at the moment? Doesn't look like any of them. Looks like we've got a pretty fully labeled thing here. This is like a mem copy, I think. Yeah. This is a mem copy. I think it's like a mem copy aligned or something. The void. It's gonna be dust const or keyword size. Good enough. Yeah, this is like a cache flash. This is a different kind of cache flash. This is to clear and invalidate cache, which I don't have good names for. These are DMA controller setups. These are like the initial calculations for aligning and doing the memory mapping, which I don't name. Smart code line. Yeah, okay, that looks like a completely fully labeled TrustZone binary to me. Awesome, that's great. Okay, let me put this up on Jest. Let me close this, deflate the database, which I know doesn't really matter, but which I like to do. Then let me open it back up. File, produce file, dump database to IDC file. Database, let's call it tz 9.10.dc. Actually, generally, let's close this and rename this to tz 9.1.0. Excellent. Okay, and here's the part where I do the meme thing. Unless it's kept me logged in, which it actually might have kept me logged in. Just.github.com. Totally might have left me logged in. Okay, I'm gonna turn the screen black for a second and mute my microphone, which I know I don't need to mute my microphone, but I like the meme of people trying to figure out my password from my typing, and mitigating that is funny to me, so it's what we're doing. Cool. Here we are, logged into my GitHub again. Let me take this, delete that, strip out the IDA header because it's not necessary. And I think that should be good. Create public gist. I will tweet that when the stream is over. But okay, there is the IDC for the 9.1.0 TrustZone binary. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Cool. I am happy to stream for like another, we've been doing this for 3 hours and 20 minutes. What are those secret gists? I didn't think to look until it was too late. They weren't anything interesting. I think the most recent 4 ones are a diff that I was having Finks look at for atmospheres refactoring of like some AMS : OS : condition variable stuff. And then there was a little C snippet that didn't do anything interesting. And then there was a crash log for Sword and Shield. And then there was a dump of the Sword and Shield. It was legend.c. It was a dump of the Sword and Shield Poke regulation function that determines if a Pokemon is a legendary or not. Because the game has some weird oddities in there that I'm not going to talk about until there's an official tournament where it's relevant, because it'll be really, really funny if I don't talk about it until it's relevant. But suffice to say, they did not do the legend checks perfectly, and I'm really looking forward to when that bites them. I guess talking about this now is probably going to fix it, but that's fine. That's funny. That's true. I do have Bowser's personal password. It's Doug. Doug Bowser's password is Doug. Feel free to check that. It's true. Oh, I don't have actual Bowser's password. Just Doug Bowser, whose password, again, is Doug. Fallen Kari says, is your desktop usually it's cleaned or decleaned up for the stream? Yeah, this is a virtual machine. This virtual machine exists only for me to stream from, and so my desktop is much dirtier in practice. This is my real desktop wallpaper. That's true. I've been using this desktop wallpaper for like 7 or 8 years now. I really like it. I don't know where it's from. I don't remember where it's from. But it's been what I've used for a super long time. Anyway, we're basically done with the TrustZone diffing. I mean, the IDC has been posted. I don't have anything else to stream diffing of from 9.1.0. It's mostly just working on the atmosphere man-in-the-middle stuff. So I would like to stream atmosphere development, but there's a problem with that, which is that a lot of the atmosphere development cycle is me going, okay, I need to run this on device, and then I launch Tegra RCM, and then I run it on device, and then it crashes, but I don't have any way to get output from my console to the stream. I don't really want to like hold up a camera to my console or anything because that's stupid. And so I worry that like atmosphere development will just be not very compelling because so much of it is me going, okay, that didn't work. Time to edit something, open my compiled binary in IDA, and then try again. Also, when I stream the kernel loader stuff, you guys will probably be surprised. Well, you won't be surprised if you know me. I validate my code's correctness by opening it in IDA. I don't really trust source code. I only trust IDA output. IDA output makes a lot of bugs that I might have in my source code clear to me. Also, IDA's just better than a text editor because you get xrefs. Like, I know that opening your own programs in IDA is a meme, but it is also so much better than any other way of validating your program's correctness. It is just so superior that I like don't even want to call it a meme. But yeah, I've been streaming for 3 hours and 23 minutes. I figure I'll stick around for like 10 more minutes or so and just answer questions and talk to people. And then I will get to work on the Atmosphere Man in the Middle work. The stuff that I'm going to be doing tonight, the remaining tasks for... Let me actually just make a to-do list because I can type it out and that'll help me remember it when I'm thinking about it later. Things to do for Atmosphere 0.10.0. Finish AMS factor. Support 9.1.0. Supporting 9.1.0 is easy. It's add new master key to Exosphere. Add new master key to use a secondary. Change sets to derive new master key. Assign binary with Shrek. Shrek happy. That's basically everything I need to do for 9.1.0. I don't think anything changed in a way that matters for Atmosphere elsewhere. I guess loader has text changes. Check if they matter. They 99% do not. And this is implement save data redirection. Implement HTML redirection. Folder redirection. This involves interfaces. Directory save data file system. Direction file system. This is subdirectory file system. This is, I guess, also just more generally implement file system interface adapter. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. This is what I was working on this morning after I did the layered FS stuff, but before I went to work. Once I do this, I'll get this done pretty quickly because these are straightforward. This is like the dumbest way of doing this, but let me... Yeah. Here's Atmosphere's current status of stuff that I've done since like 6 a.m. this morning. Which I just copy pasted from command line output from the host. Yeah, I was doing path stuff. I was doing... This is all just stuff that I was doing. This is the script that I wrote to decrypt package 1, which I need to not actually include. I mean, it doesn't matter if I include. There's nothing at all bad in it. I mean, I can pull it up. Atmosphere, subsecondary, package1 decrypt.py. It's literally just for all of the keys, try to decrypt with the key, and if it succeeds, write it to a file. My decryption is super dumb. Get the size, validate the size, validate the CMAC, decrypt it, validate the magic. It's super dumb and easy script. Yeah, I'm working on Pat stuff. I redid the semaphore primitives because Nintendo's file system interface adapter uses an NNFS system detail shared lock, and it also uses a STD unique lock for FS system or FSserv semaphore adapter. And semaphore adapter takes an OS semaphore and adds a try-lock function and an unlock function. And so in order to faithfully implement the file system interface adapters, I needed to have functional semaphores. And so yeah, this was me implementing the like file system directory stuff for MUMMC folder redirection. And then I was implementing the backend file system stuff needed to provide that over a actual interface. Because implementing the file system is not enough, I need to implement the NNFSserv detail file system interface adapter in order to provide it over IPC. Because IPC objects take in NNFSserv SF FSP path references serialized over buffers and over pointer buffer because they're SF large data, but the actual iFile system functions take in const char star, and so it's an interposition layer between the two of them. PyPy says, I might have asked this last stream, so I'm sorry to be asking again. Do you have a vague release on TSEC shenanigans? Nope, eventually. That is what I have to say about the release date for those, is eventually. I intend for that to be released. I don't have a date. I do not particularly feel like trying to come up with a date because I would just be making stuff up. I'm not even going to say June 15th there because June 15th, like as a date means, oh yeah, I'm working on it, it'll come out. For TSEC, it's like I am literally not going to give a release date because if I say June 15th, people might misunderstand and think that I actually mean that date. See a linked picture. Okay. Can we do the markets? Okay. I read over the thing that you just linked, Hedgeberg. There's a sentence in there that I take a lot of... I take a lot of... I'm going to use the word umbrage towards. I really don't like it. You say... .ban at glance. I enjoy abusing my power and hate memes. Now look. You like abusing your power? Sure, I understand wanting to abuse power. Abusing power is fun. It's natural. I respect you. You're correct. Your feelings are valid. But then you follow up with, and hate memes. And I don't know that I can work with you or be friends with you if you're going to say things like, I hate memes. That's so fundamentally contrary to my values. I feel like it's an attack on everything that I stand for. That's true. We are getting divorced. Although I think I said you couldn't divorce me, and that's still true. XOTCX. I was being asked about when the like TSEC hacking stuff that we've done is being released, and the answer is eventually. Not even soon, just eventually. Definitely not soon. It looks like switch hacking meta has a bad message at the bottom of it right now, so I'm glad reswitch has gone to shit in my absence. So, do I have permission to DM you an excessive amount of Pokemon memes? I cannot say that I will respond to the Pokemon memes, but my DMs are open, so anyone can DM me whatever they want. Anyway, I guess stream suggestion / feedback. I mean, this was actually pretty fun. I mean, I'm pretty sleep deprived at the moment, but this was nice and lazy labeling stuff in TrustZone and chatting. Mostly chatting because the labeling was so mindless tonight, which I enjoyed. But going forwards, I would like to do a system module implementation stream at some point, and I am actively planning on streaming kernel loader reimplementation, which I think will be really fun, and which I think will be just a great stream. But I don't know what is good and what is bad in these streams. Curious how much you reference IDA when you're implementing. A lot. Very much a lot. Okay, do you ever rage while working on Atmosphere? Not really. I mean, I don't know if you have noticed or anything, but I don't anger very quickly. I am generally pretty mellow, and I don't really rage in general. So no, I don't really rage. Bad, Notepad++, bad Python 2. You're allowed to have shit opinions, Hedgeberg. It's not going to impact the divorce. XRTZX as mellows general. No, I don't do drugs of any kind. I'm not a believer in that. I mean, no judgment, but not my thing. Yeah, that makes sense. Byte 404. One thing that I'm wondering about the kernel loader stuff in particular is, should I set up like the makefile and the other boring shit that I don't want to try to figure out on stream beforehand and then stream the actual implementation work? Or should I do the whole thing? Do the whole thing on stream. Okay, I will do that then. I am totally happy to do. Let's stream all of kernel loader development from start to finish. I mean that sounds super fun, but yeah, okay. I mean, to be clear, when I say makefile, I just mean take a devkit A64 makefile, copy it, edit it some, and then hack away at it until it works. I mean, it's mostly the link script, I think, for kernel loader that will matter. I just need a link script that will copy in the appropriate segments. DK says make a notification on Twitter for next stream. Yeah, so I feel like if I tweet like a link to my Twitch, I'll get way too many viewers. I like this count-ish where people are active in the chat and I'm like having a good time talking to people, but there aren't so many people as to be overwhelming. Like chat is not moving too fast for me to keep track of. And so I like the current strategy of mention on Twitter that I'm going to be streaming and then not actually linking the stream on Twitter. I mean, what I did tonight is I tweeted, oh yeah, I'll be streaming in like an hour, and then I didn't actually tweet a link, which I think is probably a good compromise. Itubs, yes, my intention after kernel loader is to stream general mesosphere development. I think Sire's develops the Horizon kernel is probably good stream content. Because I love the Horizon kernel, and I have all sorts of feelings and thoughts about it, and I'm really excited to work on implementing it. And yeah, I think that'll be good. Yeah, linker scripts definitely considered harmful. I hate everything about linker scripts, even as I have learned to kind of use them. Like, I am at the point with linker scripts where I understand how to write one, but I don't understand why it works, which is the worst position to be at with linker scripts. And Hedgeberg, if you're worried about being dwarfed, the next time you want to stream something, just tell me, and I will tweet it for you, and then you will get the people who follow Sire's audience and problem solved. Mage's Coffee. Go to the reswitched Discord hack and all channel. It's like our channel for people who are interested in learning about programming and getting into hacking stuff, and it's a great place. Definitely recommend. Also, play microcorruption.com. Microcorruption is awesome. If you don't know like anything about programming or hacking, it might be a little too skill required. It walks you through stuff and it has an awesome interface. But if you need stuff more basic than that, Hack and All can guide you to resources. It is Octothorpe hack dash n letter n dash all. It's a good channel name. But yeah, Octothorpe hack dash n dash all is our channel for this stuff. I think the channel name comes from a quote from someone who didn't really speak English, who was telling us that he believed in our abilities, like early in the Switch hacking days. I like barely remember. Anyway, so this atmosphere stuff. I was planning on finishing this tonight, where this would be like this stuff, and then I was planning on doing this stuff tomorrow originally, but then I did this stream, and so realistically tonight I think I can probably get this done. I don't know if I can get this done, but I'm thinking I'll probably finish this tonight, and then like tomorrow I'll finish like this and maybe this, and then I'll do that the next day. Anyway, by like the end of Friday I think I should have all of this done, and this is like an hour of work. So ideally we can do Atmosphere 0.10.0 on Sunday. I don't want to commit to that because I know very well how bugs work and debugging works. And I know very well nothing ever works the first time, and I'm objectively rewriting huge chunks of code. So, you know, Sunday is my target date, but I don't want to commit to that. What I'm kind of thinking is I might do a pre-release for 0.10.0 when it's first ready, and like post a binary that people can test and use, but it'll probably have bugs that I will need people to find and report to me so that I can fix them. And so if I do like a 0.10.0 pre-release, I can get bugs fixed, fix the bugs, and then do the 0.10.0 actual release. And maybe, just maybe, if I do that, people will stop complaining to me about the fact that I update binaries without bumping the release version. That pisses so many people off, and I'm not going to stop doing it. I mean, once Atmosphere is at 1.0.0, if I change the binary, I will increment the minor revision, or the micro revision, rather. But right now we are treating minor like major and micro like minor, and so I don't have a minor digit. And so it's just how things are going right now. But, you know, maybe if I do the pre-release thing, people will stop complaining about my replacing binaries, and since the point of the pre-release is that binaries will get replaced when bugs are fixed. This is like a super reasonable amount of work for like 1 to 3 days, and this is just an hour or two. This is super ridiculous because I shouldn't be putting this much effort into it, but I actually have like a setup so that I can do the Shrek stuff automatically, where it will pull the Shrek fork and then sign it. I shouldn't be giving this much first class support to the Shrek people, but it's fun to give first class support to the Shrek people. The pre-release binary, it would just be like a normal Atmosphere release. It would just be in the releases tab. There would just be a zip for you to download. It would just be marked as a pre-release. So something that I'm excited about in 0.10.0 that I don't know if people have really noticed yet is that I finally fixed the configuration overwrite problem. So now for like all of the configuration for Atmosphere, the innies will not be shipped in the zip by default. So you won't have your configuration overridden. Instead, the code embeds defaults, and anything that's in the innies will overwrite the defaults if present. And so updates will stop trashing people's configuration every time, which I think will make people happy. The other really nice thing that I fixed is the man-in-the-middle API finally gives more information about client state, where now instead of just the process ID and program ID, the man-in-the-middle clients also get the keys that were held when the process was created and a list of the override states. So, for example, now it explicitly knows if it's homebrew loader, it explicitly knows if it should override contents, it explicitly knows if cheats are enabled. And that information is only captured once instead of being captured multiple times. That is, the state of the buttons when the process is created is the state that is used for all of the decisions now. Which is really nice. Because it finally fixes that issue where you like let go of R and then the console crashes. Which is so dumb. It's Mason's suggestion that I'm like finally implementing months later. And yeah, Valiant Storm, if something is missing from the innies, it will just be defaulted. I'm also probably going to move the innies into a config folder. So it'll be atmosphere/config/ whatever the innies are. And then I'm going to ship, instead of shipping the innies the way that I have been shipping them, I'll ship them in a config templates folder. So you have a copy of the config with everything commented out, but it doesn't actually do anything. It just uses the defaults unless you choose to overwrite it. Oh, also another cool thing is I separated the override key from the override any app key. I changed the defaults again. And so you can now have a separate key press that determines if you use Homebrew Loader for a specific title versus for any application. And so the new default is that if you hold down R, you get Homebrew Loader over any game. And if you don't hold down R, you get the game. But for the album, if you don't hold down R, you get Homebrew Loader. And if you hold down R, you get the album. So the album applet is Homebrew Loader by default, unless you hold R, and games are games by default, but if you hold down R, you get Homebrew Loader, which I think will make a lot of people happy. since you can change the keys to whatever you want to. They're separately configurable. Tej asks, Mike, dude, I apostrophe am dying over here. How much longer is the stream going to go without punctuation to finish the sentence? And the answer is like less than 15 minutes. If this hits 4 hours, I'll end it immediately, but more likely it'll end in like the next 5 minutes. Yeah, I mean, I'm super happy with Atmosphere 0.10.0. It's way. It is a lot of huge improvements that mean a lot to me. Okay, Hedgeberg, if your head hurts, just go to sleep, dude. I mean, I'm only gonna be here for another 5 or 10 minutes. Nothing is gonna catch on fire, and also we're like lower viewership now. Well, I mean, 10 people. We're actually about the same viewership, but chat is like not going crazy to the point where, it's not going crazy. It's not going crazy, so you should be fine. 0.10.-1. Oh man, is 0.10.-1 is a really funny joke. Will it print as 0.10.-1 in the bit field? I don't know if it's possible to encode -1 because we passed the version information along in like a byte. It's super funny. I'll think about it. That's a really good joke. Oh man. Fuck, that's funny. It's so funny. But yeah, no, I have wanted the Stratosphere refactor / rewrite to be over for like 2 months now. I'm really sad that it is not finished yet, and the fact that I'm like 2 or 3 days away from being done with the Stratosphere refactor and having all of the Atmosphere code namespaced and everything using like the consistent implicit result style, I am super happy with it. It's such a crazy improvement over the way the code was before, and there are like a bunch of super tangible benefits in accuracy too. I actually fixed a bug in the man-in-the-middle stuff that I think should make it way more stable if you're using it for more processes. There's this issue in like the current master branch where when you close a domain object that's man-in-the-middle, it will. Right now, the code sends a domain object close message, but it doesn't actually require that the man-in-the-middle service object doesn't close the object itself. And a lot of objects do, and because I don't expect anything there, the code will close domain object IDs twice sometimes. And there is this race condition where a program opens a domain object, it gets closed, and then something else opens that domain object, and then it gets closed again, and then something else opens it up. And so you can end up with a process having a handle / domain object ID to a different interface than it intended to. And that leads to corruption. And so you can like randomly, via this crazy race condition, get like system corruption with Atmosphere. And that bug has been present for the better part of 1.5 years. But the current system modules we target don't trigger it at all. But if you like say, okay, yeah, man-in-the-middle everything, it hits, and it's really bad. The HID man-in-the-middle is going to be present in 0.10.0, and it's going to be removed in the first commit after 0.10.0 is released. It will be gone in 0.10.1, but it will be there in 0.10.0. Good night, Manzanana. I hope you enjoyed the stream. And actually, it is like 3 hours and 53 minutes into the stream. I won't answer this question for Fallen Lucario, and then I'll head out. Mesosphere is the name for Atmosphere's planned kernel reimplementation. We are going to implement the Horizon kernel and run it on the device, and it's going to be really cool. That is the plan. Okay. I think I'm going to call it a night here. I hope you guys have enjoyed. The next time I stream, unless there's like another system update or something, will probably be kernel loader development, and I'm really looking forward to that. That's going to be so good. And I'll get the like purchased IDA in this VM for the next time, so that you guys can see IDA 7.4, which I'm happy with. Yeah. Good night.